Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L and welcome to My Hero Academia chapter 242, my thoughts and my impressions. I'm recording this very late on a Friday night, but hey, thanks for showing up and coming to the video. If you followed the channel, you know that over the last weekend I got ill, so I read the comments before coming into this video, but I didn't get a chance to reply to them in a timely manner, and it would be just it wouldn't be worth it to reply to them so late. But hey, for everyone that replied, thanks a lot for replying. There was a lot of comments, a lot of them about the Kaminari Trader theory, or not Kaminari Trader theory, but a lot about the Kaminari Trader thing, and it's like, I'm pretty sure I addressed it too, that it was just a weird situation, and I also brought up the left hand rule, but a lot of people were actually talking about the Kaminari thing. I think that title by itself probably attracted a lot of people to the video, because usually these videos do less than 2,000 views, and this one was pretty high up there. But yeah, no, I'm largely on the same boat as all you guys. I am noting, however, like it's strange that the author, you know, like it's strange that it still happens. It's fun to talk about, but I don't. It's so, what's it called? Circumstantial. So circumstantial. Anyway, there were other comments, but let's just get into the video because overall the comments were pretty much. I mostly agreed with the majority of them. Let's get into the video proper. And before we go in proper, I need to say this. What do you mean this isn't cute? This is the cutest thing in the world. What are you talking about? Tokoyami, thank you for putting that giant sword in there. And author, thank you for drawing Eri getting the giant sword. That was amazing. What do you mean that wasn't cute? Oh my god, my heart. That was nice, man. And speaking of niceties, in terms of general terms for the chapter, you know, I look at this and I see the happiness here. I see the happiness. And then I see that not only is the main character potentially getting involved next in this next arc, not only is he going to be with the main rival, and not only is he going to be with the breakout character, he's also going to be potentially with the hero who is connected to both sides of the plot, i.e. the Hero Academia plot and the Villain Academia plot through Hawks, obviously. And then you consider again that this is a happy moment, and you're expecting me to believe that whatever comes next is not going to be absolutely tragic. Guy, you've got a nexus of the most relevant characters in Hero Academia right now, and they're all going to be in the same arc together? Yeah, okay, this seems like the calm before the storm. When you look at the thing here, it's kind of hard to not look at this happy time and think of it as just a nice celebration before things get a little bit harder. It's kind of hard to not see it that way, especially because we're already 200 chapters in the game. We already saw how much of a situation Shigaraki is forming. We see how bad this thing looks. The only way forward is escalation as by the standards of Shonen Jump. And so, you know, I look at this and I do get a little bit worried because this is a lot of flags for potential things going wrong in the next arc. And not only that, you got to consider it's the end of a semester. The last time we had the end of a semester, that was summer break. What happened? A lot of things went terribly wrong. So I go into this chapter and all I can see are flags that get me excited but also very worried. This seems like it's set up for things to just explode. That said, I do feel Hero Academia is going to go through a full year. So we're going to have to see to what degree are things going to get bad here. Because if we take into account that Hero Academia is going to go for a full school year, at least, then by the natural nature of escalation, it means that whatever happens here can't be that big. It'll be bigger than maybe Camino, but it can't be that big if we are trying to find some kind of framework for the Hero Academia story. It's fair to say that there is a framework at play because we know the general patterns for Hero Academia. There's a kid arc, and then there's a villain involved arc, and that's been roughly the pattern until you get to the semester break. So I see no reason to think that there isn't some kind of pattern or framework that the author is using. But you know, things change. We'll have to keep an eye on it, but we're at a point where again sides are escalating, and again when you put the three most influential characters in one group, I mean, like, let's look at, like, just face it, they're the three people on the popularity chart. They're the top three. You put them together and it's like, that's a lot of power. You're gonna need a big villain if you want to take out the power of those three. You know, you have Izuku, who's super overpowered. You have Todoroki, well, Shoto, because there's two Todorokis here. You have Shoto, who he has effectively two quirks, and you have Bakugo, literal victory waiting to happen. Bakugo will push victory even if he ends up with the underpowered quirk in this situation. Ooh, that was weird. Even if he ends up with the underpowered quirk in this situation, that requires a big villain. We need a big villain, which leads me to the next general point of you know, how could this next arc work out? Who is going to be the opposition in this arc? Should we expect something that's going to be nice and cutesy, like the Class 1A versus Class 1B fight? Should we expect something like that? Where, like, you know, most of the stuff is inconsequential, maybe just small progressions in the various plots, not really anything big. Should we expect that, or should we expect a game changer type event? Should we expect a big event? Should we expect things coming to fruition? Because when you look at this chapter is setting stuff up. When you look at the writing for the chapter, it's loading up a lot, and it gives you a lot of information, and it establishes a lot of potential character payoffs, such that when you look at the chapter is really nicely done. So this is a pretty dangerous moment. It's a pretty dangerous moment. Everything in the story is saying that there's going to be something terrible here, but at the end of the day, again, it's the author who ultimately decides. But considering that Shonen Jump, I'd say escalation is coming. Considering that the way that they're having a happy moment now, I'd say escalation is coming. But we very well could have a breather as well. It just really it depends. Now we're gonna see if we have a pattern. Now we're gonna test the pattern. If we see that there's a big event occurring during this summer break, then we can assume that the final end of the school year will be a big event. Because by that point, you know, we'll have a more or less provable pattern. Anyway, on the note of the chapter content and all that kind of stuff, so last week I was wondering about how to properly structure these videos. Oh man, it's already been 7 minutes. I was wondering how to properly structure these videos, but I also saw some people, you know, mentioning things that I didn't cover in the video, and it's like, if I do a page by page, I can cover everything. It'll be longer, but I feel like everyone who notices smaller details, they might be better served for that, because at least they'll know, like, okay, someone noticed this as well, and maybe someone can talk about this. So hopefully that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to go through it very quickly. I'm going to like pump up the rate at which I speak, and we'll hopefully get through the video so that it doesn't take up too much time. Oh, and also, before I forget, one big thing. Everyone that pointed out the Todoroki characterization, thank you. When I'm making the impression videos, I'm usually just going off of like how I was feeling at the moment. And it's different from the research videos, because usually with the research videos, I'm rereading a lot of the chapters to properly like fix everything in my head. So it's nice whenever you guys come in and like, okay, no, this is actually pretty normal. But that said, the characterization, as someone pointed out in the comments, was very concentrated last chapter, and that's what I really enjoyed. I liked that it was super concentrated. It just seemed way more than usual, and I really enjoyed that. Okay, let's start with the proper chapter walkthrough. That was kind of a small review about where we're kind of going. So first chapter walkthrough. Now the first page is super interesting. The first page is honestly exposition. It's just to like give you, just remind you of how things stood and give you some distinctions about what's special about this internship situation. I absolutely adore the information. I think it's worthwhile. In this first page, I think like the most important line here, honestly, is the fact that it's the Public Safety Commission demanding that the kids do the on-the-job training. This is really important. It gets elucidated a little bit further in the chapter, so we'll wait till that point to continue speaking about it. But the next page I think is very interesting, and the reason it's very interesting is because of Midnight's dialogue at the very top of it. Now, I know that I've promised this video multiple times, but the Stain takedown video, the reason I haven't done it is because I don't feel that confident with what I got for it so far. But moments like these, I figured that the longer we go in Hero Academia, the more that Stain will be disproven. Because Stain has been like really disproven by this point, or Stain's ideology has been really disproven in terms of how he viewed the world. But this is one thing that I wanted to address. Midnight says that they're admitting that they're understaffed even in this society that's supposedly saturated with heroes. The reason I'm bringing Stain into this is because Stain has a fundamental problem with the society of Hero Academia, but there would not be ineffective heroes the way that Stain sees them. They would not exist if there wasn't a demand. The reality is that the Hero Academia world is so terrible that people who don't care get to be heroes. That's happening because people need the heroes around. That's how bad the situation is in the Hero Academia world. So even if you were to go down the Stain route and try to make everyone like All Might, you would have a severe problem of people are going to die. Multiple people are going to die under Stain's rhetoric. But this is an important thing. When you see that they're pointing out that they're understaffed, when you read that, that should make sense to you, because that by itself justifies how there could be so much low quality heroes. If there wasn't a demand for it, it wouldn't have happened, especially because you consider like heroes are being paid. Believe me, if villains weren't a problem, there wouldn't be as many heroes as there are. But the reality is there are. This is a really good panel because it just continues building up the idea of the Hero Academia world. And again, when you're at a point that you're pretty much accepting mediocrity in terms of the quality of your quirky civil servants, that says a lot more about how chaotic the society is. And it's really interesting because the way that Hero Academia positions it, like when you look back to Shizaki, they make it seem like criminals and like those big groups, organized crime, are new things or relics of the past, depending on what chapter you're reading. You know, they make it seem like this is rare, but like now we can see this. Like small, it seems that it's the small individualized crimes. Those seem to be the problem here. Because, again, a society saturated with heroes, but they're understaffed. Like it looks like there's a lot of petty crime in the Hero Academia world. Anyway, that was a really wonderful panel. I like it. I think when you connect it to the rest of Hero Academia, that helps paint a picture of the current society. Now, as we go down further in the page, there is a confirmation here. We have Nedzu talking about they've clearly sniffed out some huge impending crisis. When you read that, you should be thinking, they sniffed out a crisis. That means Hawks most likely gave information to his superiors. That means most likely right now, or at least after the first night, that means Hawks found that, well, was able to get out of the facility. That's really the big thing we should take away from that. Hawks was all right enough to pass the information along. That's pretty good. And of course, it makes sense that Nedzu would be the one to like kind of give us the exposition, given that he's the smartest animal in the world. Oh, and by the way, I'm mostly sourcing Manga Stream, but I've read the Jemeni's box translation as well, so it should mostly be okay in terms of translation. We continue moving on, and page 4 is just people talking about how weird this is, and then just Nedzu doubling down. That page is fine. I think it only just serves to further push the rhetoric that this is a weird event, and it leads more credence to, or lends more credence to Hawks actually have passed on information. Anyway, after that, the only other thing in that page I think is worthwhile is that Nedzu gives us information, gives Aizawa information about a program, and from the Japanese box translation, they also seem to say that it's having to do with the Public Safety Commission. So I read that, and that's honestly a little bit weird. I can't imagine what it could be. I would assume maybe something that happens beyond this arc, because if they're talking about a program, right, it must be something that either comes in later in the game or it comes in after the arc at some point, which just makes you think Hero Academia will continue on towards the rest of the school year. Now, on page 5 is where I got a little bit worried, because at page 5, when I was reading this initially, I thought, oh no, are they going to reveal the traitor? I haven't made the traitor videos yet. Oh man, I haven't made any of those yet because I was waiting for the anime to come back. But thankfully, as we know from the chapter, they didn't do it. But there is something worth talking about on page 5. That is, they've spotted no suspicious behavior. So that is very interesting. And I do like that All Might saying that the students of the UA Hero class have a hero's heart. Like that's, you know, nice enough. But I do question how much All Might actually knows any of those students. I mean, how well does he know Sugar Guy, right? We don't know Sugar Guy that well. Only in this chapter did we learn he can cook. But yeah, no, that was a very interesting little bit of panel. In terms of the narrative, what I would say there is, you know, you got to question why is the author bringing it up. Is he bringing it up because he wants to remind you of the plot point, just so you know that he knows about it? He just wants to give you a little update, or is he bringing it up because it's going to be a relevant plot point for this arc? It's honestly really hard to make the distinction and decide, because Shonen Jump is a magazine that's always being picked up by new readers, so to some degree they have to be kind of user friendly a little bit. But at the same time, it's like it could go either way. It could either be a nice line for people who are following the subplot, or it could be a relevant line. There wasn't enough information in the chapter to make you think whether or not this was going to be a big key point. Now, if I was going to go into crazy conspiracy, one thing I will point out is that Ned Zeus said that he knows that the kids of the UA hero class have a hero's heart, and Ned Zeus says he knows that. That there's a lot of ways that you could play around with those lines to have it so that Ned Zeus is still suspecting something else, but it doesn't involve the hero class. Like, there's a lot of ways that line can play out. Also, for the record, if everyone wants to know, my official stance on who the traitor could be, it's someone in the support department. If I was to go for my serious one, I'd say either May or just someone in the support department. That's where I put my bets in terms of if there is a traitor. Anyway, the rest of that page just leads us into the Merry Christmas page, or to it's Christmas time. I really love the chapter. I really loved when we actually are doing this. It's been a while since we've seen the kids, so I'm all for a very small slice of life segment. And there's a lot of really cool details sprinkled throughout the chapter. Although, there's not really much I can point out to you guys. So at this part, we'll kind of go through it kind of quickly. So in terms of page 7, value in this page, there's value in the kids being aware that they're the most rushed first years in UA history. That's really important. I think that's just a nature of the Shonen Jump methodology. There was no way these kids were going to do 3 years properly. So that makes sense to me. The other thing that's really important in this page is that we get information that Ochako and Suyu are most likely going back to Ryukyu, which I think is quite alright. Of course, there was some nice little character interaction between all the girls there. That was a really adorable page. And then the page segues us into the information about Night Eye. So with that, we segue into page 8, and page 8 is just the full rundown. It was cool to see Centipeter and Bubble Girl again. It's going to be cool to see them in the anime as well. I saw their designs. Pretty interested to see them in motion. But yeah, no, it was cool to know that they're swamped with work and they've recovered after the whole Night Eye incident. And then the majority of the page is just there to tell you that, okay, yeah, Izuku is in limbo because Gran Torino's also pretty busy. Now, the other thing that's kind of happening in that page is that Bakugo is, Ashiro is trying to get Bakugo to wear a little thing. So that was a nice thing. This is like one of those small details that occurs in the page. You might have missed it if you were going through it too quickly. That was really cute. By the time you get to the next page, you see the full information of what happened. You had Bakugo being slapped you had the kids messing with him. That was funny. Ashiro and Kaminari are part of the Bakugo crew technically, so that was cool to see it there. But I wasn't actually expecting that on this page we were gonna get the Bakugo and the Best Genius flashback. Now, by the time you read page 9 and you go to page 10, the thing you should take away here is that the narrative has set Bakugo up to have some kind of plot related to Best Genius. Let's face it, Best Genius is coming up here because we already know Best Genius's fate to some degree. We might be a little bit misled, but we do know that there is a lot of narrative strength behind Bakugo caring about Best Genius. And by the time you read page 10, that's something you should really take away from that Bakugo is relatively invested in Best Genius. For me, when I read this, I feel like this puts Bakugo on a trajectory to have a payoff with either Hawks or Dobby. We'll have to see where it goes, but right now that is a narrative build-up. Now, by the end of page 10, you should also be taken away that the big thing is that Bakugo also doesn't have an easy solution here as to where he was going to go. And honestly, we know where this ends. They end up going with Endeavor, and honestly, I didn't expect that. Also, on this page, you can also spot that Bakugo has a symbol on his shirt that kind of reminds me of the Punisher symbol. Kinda. Now, page 11 is largely another slice of life page, just people joking around, Mineta making jokes about school, and then finding out that Sugar Man can cook. And let me tell ya, it looks amazing. I think we could have had a nice Sokage no Soma exposition scene as a nice homage, but whatever. It's good to know the man's multi-talented. And then that page segues us into the arrival of Eri, which of course, as I said at the beginning of the video, like almost 20 minutes ago, that was cute and adorable. And it's adorable that she doesn't know her holidays. That was adorable. Come on, what do you mean that wasn't adorable? Now between here and page 13, we have another narrative set up. That is, Eri's horns are getting bigger again, or growing bigger. When I hear that, you know that's going to be used at a critical moment. Something at some point in the future is going to happen, and at that moment, that horn is going to go off, and Mirio's going to get his quirk back. That's how this has been set up. I am willing to make a big bet on that. That's what's going to happen. The fact that this is occurring here, again, this is another situation like the trader thing. Is this information that the author is just giving us so that you know the progress of that particular plot? Or is this information that is going to be relevant in this arc? If I was to bet for this arc, I wouldn't, because of the way that it's being situated right now, I don't think that Eri is going to be involved here. But I would put her, like, I would imagine this payoff happening towards one of the climactic moments. Anyway, page 13 is just another wonderful moment of seeing all the kids happy, really making you feel like, oh my god, something terrible is going to happen to these people just because they're too happy. And then if you notice in this page, you can see that Bakugo has officially lost and he has a Santa outfit. So that little plot point was wrapped up on this page. Page 14 is where we're doing the gift exchange, and we see that wonderful shot of Eri getting the giant sword. That was amazing. Again, we had another dialogueless page, and it was cool. It was very heartwarming to see. Things that I can point out in this page is that it's cute that Ochako got the All Might keychain. That's most likely Izuku's Secret Santa gift. I don't know what Izuku got. I assume it's a baking thing. I can't really tell. And then the other things that were worth pointing out here is that Mineta got a picture of Aoyama. Ida got what I assume are gold bars. Ashiro got a, what's that called in English? A weight? We'll just say a weight. Most likely she got it from Kirishima, so I like the stealth Kirishima Ashiro thing right there. Sero most likely got a frog thing from Tsuyu. Jiro most likely got her scarf from Sero, because Sero has that kind of patterns in his room. Bakugo, I can't tell what Bakugo got. I can only assume that's a fidget spinner. I can't imagine who would have given him that. Okay, so I just consulted with my assistant, and she thinks that what Izuku got was a pack to make mochi, instant mochi. And when I hear instant mochi, all I can really think, given Izuku's expression, is that that was probably what Ochako got. Because Ochako is a very, like, she's self-sufficient, and instant mochi just makes sense to me if that's her. What do you guys think? Anyway, the last couple pages are just Todoroki going up. As you saw throughout the chapter, he was thinking as he was hearing what was going on with Izuku and Bakugo, and we have him setting them up with going to intern for Endeavor, which again is something I never expected. So here we are. That's the end of chapter 242. Overall, you know, I think it's a chapter setting up a lot of flags, like I mentioned before. I'm very interested in where we're going to go with this. I would love to see where this journey takes us. But yeah, I think the very fact that you have 4 of the most the kids, like, you know, they're influential because, you know, they're like at the main focal point of the story, but with Endeavor together, these are the 4 big guys. Endeavor leads an arc by himself. Izuku, always, he's there. Bakugo has a strong character arc, and he has strong arcs. And Todoroki also strong arc, involved with his father and Izuku and all of them. These 4 are the people with the strongest character arcs and plot points, or plot arc, yeah, and strongest plots in Hero Academia. You know, sans All Might, but All Might's been in the background since his retirement. It's like, yeah, this is going to be a nexus of power. People are going to go in, right? So it's going to be interesting to see what exactly the author wants to do here. I'm betting for escalation, but there is always that possibility that we have a chill arc just to calm down from what happened in the previous one. Any hoosers, that's pretty much it for me. I got nothing else to say. Hopefully this video will be able to keep it at 25 minutes. Fingers crossed. I'm not too sure, but hopefully it's 25 minutes or less. Everyone, thanks so much for watching. Leave comments down below like always, and I'll try to see if I can get to them over this weekend. But thanks for everyone that addressed the comments from last week. Very fun time. Yeah, everyone, thanks for watching. Until next time, I hope you have an absolutely great day. And again, Eri was so cute. Oh my gosh, my heart melted.